Man, how are you? Good to see you.
Okay, so we're on the way to the Comedy Better When I Had a Few panel. Took a wrong turn, and yeah, like Alkali's way the hell up there.
Yeah, we need a
Oh, yeah, they're right.
Like,
we can recognize his
like he's way the fuck up there.
I guess they liked people being late for the panel, so we're going to decide to take an experience this year.
Yeah, fuck it. We're already late for the panel anyway, so fuck it. I'm recording now.
Yeah, well, I didn't drink as much as I thought during the day. I guess it works out. I mean, I'm getting an empty flashback.
Oh, let me catch up. Alkali, take a left.
Yeah. Around to your left.
Yep. Second stage off to the left.
Thank you. No.
Fair enough. I'm glad I'm not the only one that gets lost.
No, you're good, dude. You're good.
Photo ID.
Yes. And I'm waiting, and I'm waiting, and I'm agonizing. I don't want to give him anything. And he says something that gave me faith in us, in all of you. Everything that we do is part of this fandom. And he responds, "That's the one you took your charity day off for, right?" And I respond, "Yes." And he goes, "You've raised more on behalf of this company in your 8 hours than any of our employees have before. It's weird. You do you." I saw a top hat bastard without a top hat walk in. Too bad. Ladies and gentlemen, Alkali Bismuth.
You left him in there, didn't you?
But everyone says change is good.
Dragor, thank you so much for covering for me. Guys, I do apologize. We had a panel that ran a little bit over. Thank you guys so much. Oh, give us 1 minute to get situated. I think I lost half the people that were also at the panel trying to join me.
They're slowly filing in.
I'll go wrangle some.
Thank you. I'm gonna tell you guys a quick story about breathing. Ooh, you want to talk about a concept I don't understand? You just have a bunch of Ricola?
I have a sore throat. No more comment.
Ricola!
I want to do an ad on my YouTube channel just for Rico. Just be like, so I was not having a very good day. And hold on, I need to take one of these. Whoa, that feels so much better! Ricola, let's match up.
I'm sorry, what did you pronounce it as?
Ricola.
That's better. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to A Comedy Better When I've Had a Few! So, up on this stage right now, we have a little bit of comedy, but I don't have a few. I was planning on stopping at the bar, running to my room, and taking one of the many, many bottles. But instead, I listened to a group of 7 people play Cards Against Humanity for the last hour, and I no longer have any faith in our species. But a surprising amount of faith in the people who created Cards Against Humanity.
So, before we officially kick things off,
Yes.
we were supposed to have a third person with us tonight, right?
Yes, and he was following me, and I legitimately don't know what happened to
No,
him.
I mean the one that couldn't make it to the con.
Yes.
Boozy Badger was supposed to join us. Unfortunately, he could not attend the convention. However, he has sent you a gift. Boozy said to give this to you. He said you'd get it.
Oh no! Oh no!
No one's going to understand this.
It's a cupcake.
It is a cupcake. If you would like to know the story... If you would like to know the story, by the end, we will have collected money. I don't think this is going to be a problem. Here comes the hat. As long as it makes it up here with money, I'm going to tell you something disgusting. Hat coming? Right in the middle. Since I'm so bad at throwing, let's get somebody out here who's actually good at sports. Ladies and gentlemen, our third for the evening, it is a pleasure, it is an honor, it is a terrifying privilege to introduce you to Pepper Coyote!
Oh, we've all made a terrible mistake. Who's ready to hear about socialism?
MFF would like to remind you that the thoughts and views of this panel do not reflect among humanity, let alone MFF.
You got a bag of Ricolas up here?
Yeah, I had already mentioned the Ricolas. Also,
It's like $300 worth of Ricolas right there.
I work at Costco. Everything I buy is this large now. I want a Snickers. It's a freaking giant bag of Snickers.
so there we were. I also shop at Costco because, you know, I'm a Costco faggot. If you get that reference, thank you so much. Well, thank you. I have 3 people living in my house. Who here is a Costco member? Raise your hand. Okay, Sam's Club as well. Costco or Sam's Club. Raise your hand. Keep your hand up. If you live with more than one person who is on your account, keep your hand up. If not, put your hand down. This is a message for all of you. Tell your housemates when you are out of toilet paper and you plan on buying it. No. We had guests over at the house whose assumption was we never stop shitting. In my basement, I have a convention sitting on tables. I am the chairman of First Square. Next to those tables is my sound studio. That's what we use to record the Dragon Show. And do you know what we are using for a sound dampening wall right now? That's right, because when we go to Costco, we don't buy 1 giant pack of toilet paper, we buy 2. There's 3 people in the house. Simple multiplication means I have a fort of toilet paper in my basement with a window in it. Because Xander is apparently an engineer.
This is now Home Recording Techniques, the panel.
Speaking of home recording, you have a home studio. What do you use for sound dampening?
I use nothing. I have a microphone that just happens to pick up a very short range of, you know.
Well, so you just got a better microphone. That's an option? I glued 8 cartons to my wall for you. And then for Miko, because if you want to see a confused mouse, wait till your roommate comes home and there are 8 cartons just glued to a wall. He asked me what was on the list for arts and crafts this week, and Xander had just happened to buy eggs.
I'm hoping that in your back room, it's not that it's a nice, neat pattern of 8 cartons. That there's just like one, just like you've lost in a pinata, slapped in the 8 carton on the wall, just haphazard. You're like, that's my sound dampener. You're like, okay, sure it is.
Like I just have a bucket of glue, dip and throw, dip and throw. They're coming out at angles.
Oh, it just spells the Dragon Show on the wall in ignorant.
Oh, hold on. Speaking of spelling the Dragon Show on the wall, hey Xander, are you in here? Great, I can tell this story. So, if you've ever been to the Dragon Show, my live podcast, we have a banner, which we might have left at home. Crap. We have a banner that is simply an Amazon cheap black flag. I cannot describe to you how thin this material is. And Xander, an artist, took my projector, set it up in my kitchen, projected the Dragon Show logo on the wall, and with white paint onto the flag, painted a perfect replica of the Dragon Show logo, and it was beautiful. And then he took down the flag. I have the Dragon Show logo on the wall of my kitchen because it totally bled through. You don't know the Dragon Show logo, it's a skull with 2 microphones as the crossbones. But guess what happens when white paint just bleeds? That doesn't look like microphones now. It looks like my house is poison. Guests are confused.
Did he use lead paint?
What?
Was it lead paint?
I have no idea what kind of paint. It's wall paint now!
I figured you were gonna say it looks like we're the captain of a gay pirate house with 2 dicks.
Arrgh! Gets that phrase often heard.
Hold on. With 2, it's very 18, right? Well, hold on. Hold on.
18.
Is this 18 plus? Oh, thank God.
They checked my ID to let me in, so I hope so.
I was more worried. It's like I can't tell them the cupcake story if it's not 18 plus.
The story's about this cupcake?
Yes.
Is that frosting?
We're about to find out. Is that frosting? Nope.
I mean, yeah, but look, you know that moment when you were like, oh, that's a really funny reference, and you realize exactly 0 people will get it, so you just gotta let it go.
Oh yeah. I call that every stand-up set I've ever done. So, no, go ahead.
It was just a tag on, never mind. Oh, they'll really enjoy this. Oh wait, that happened at my house with me and 1 other person.
But that one other person would really enjoy it.
Oh, they would love it.
See, there is sometimes, this is a beautiful thing about comedy. I believe that I've told you guys, it has a plane in it.
Theme appropriate.
Fly the saucy skies.
Fly the frosty skies.
The frosty skies. There is a story that I've told here before, the Apple story. The gentleman who did performance art on stage.
Oh, you want me to replicate it with the cupcake? Hold on, you want me to replicate it with the cupcake?
There is a story that we can tell you because there were 2 people there. Me and this guy. We run cons. It happens. You don't say, I run a convention. I happen to run a convention. No, you say, I run a convention. It happened to me. Because it happened to us. And sometimes when you run a con, it gets overwhelming. And that's when you have to lean on your staff, your board, your volunteers, your attendees. Because I'm not talking about sending somebody out there to go do something volunteer-wise. I'm not talking about running a panel. I'm talking about the simple need to remember that everyone here is here to have a good time and don't sweat the small stuff. And we are really bad at not sweating the small stuff. We're really bad at not sweating, actually. That's a thing that we have to deal with.
Same.
You're skinny, shut up.
We were in, I don't mean to, I'm not telling
You're
this
fine.
to brag. We were in Scotland like a week ago hanging out with Fox's family, and they're like, would you like coffee? Or, well, they said like, would you like coffee? Or however they talk. And Fox is near, I can make these jokes. And they're like, do you want some coffee? I'm like, nah, it makes me sweat a bit. So like, and they're like, nonsense. So, you drink the coffee, and then we're standing outside in like Glasgow, and it's like, -1 outside in Celsius. So what is that? 13, whatever.
31?
31. And we're out there, and I'm just like jacking off, just like standing there, literally pouring sweat down my sweaty back. My back is just the island of, ugh. Like, you know that Mario Kart level where you have to run through water every once in a while? That's my back. It's just very wet. You gotta dodge the wet part so you lose speed.
I love you so much.
That's the end of that. There's no conclusion.
I love you so much. Well, I was having one of those days. I needed a break, and my good friend here, Des, saw it. And he waited, because this gentleman over here has comedic timing. And I'm going to show you exactly what he did. Des, care to demonstrate? I had my back to him. I turned around, and he did this out of absolutely nowhere. Bear in mind, I am overwhelmed. Stared at me, and I do appreciate that. It's very nice of him to not discuss the audience. The cupcake was about that size, and it was well more than a bite.
About a half. It was about a half. Like, crumbling out of my mouth.
He shoved half a gourmet cupcake into his face while making continuous eye contact with me. And the moment I was about to ask him, what the hell are you doing? In that voice went, cupcake. And the next year, he was con chairman of Indy FurCon. Because that right there is what it takes to be a con chair. Just remembering that sometimes you don't need to go out there and do a project. You don't need to put out a fire. Sometimes you just need to jam shit in your mouth. Also, I got frosting on my fingers.
Of others.
I got frosting on my fingers. You two talk. I want to lick. Do not ooh this.
Don't put us on the spot.
Am I the only one up here who does not staff a con?
Yes.
Usually.
Yet.
I mean, you
nope.
perform at like 80 of them a year. So.
Yeah, when they make me staff, that'll be a very quick, easy firing of the next year.
So if you had to, I'm not saying we're gonna make it happen, but if you had to, what would be the position you would like if you were staff?
Bathroom monitor. I don't want you. I just want to monitor the bathroom. I want to stand outside the bathroom, and as you go in, I go, wait. She's looking good. Continue. Bathroom monitor.
My ideal would that I would be like live music programming director, because I hope that we eventually get cons that have so much live music that we need a special programming director for them. That'd be awesome. Because instead of doing like, I don't.
Hey, Pepper, at First Squares, we got a new position open.
It's amazing! There we go. This fits right there. Take it. Go out for it. Take it.
I'm just trying to encourage cons to stop. Like, there is a lot of live music now, but instead of doing 3 individual shows, encourage people to smush them together into one actual concert block, so we don't have to have like 9 teardowns and people going, "What show are we at? What's happening?" It's like, everyone leave before the next concert. Wait, what? Why?
So, ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special guest to introduce you to. The worst person at the convention as judged by committee during Cards Against Humanity. Let's give it up for the ball gobbler himself, ladies and gentlemen, Fur! That means come up here. They're in front of you.
I found the stick. And you deserve it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Fur.
Fur, the guy who you think makes up crap to get a better GoFundMe, but actually he really has a life like this.
If you are not subscribed, Fur, you'll have to tell them where it is. You guys all need to subscribe to Fur's Not Fur Twitter account, because I don't think it's actually done by
It's
you.
not run by me. I don't know who runs it. It's called Is Fur Injured? And for some reason, they're psychic, because every once in a while it just says, maybe.
This started many years ago. Fur had made a post like, well, I'm going to Disney World, and out of absolutely nowhere, an account no one had heard of, Is Fur Injured, said yes. People were confused until about 20 minutes later when Fur came on, like I fell off the roller coaster.
Okay, for the record, I did not fall off the roller coaster.
For the record, what did you do? Fur?
For the record, it's not technically a roller coaster because it's like an that's like an SUV ride. It's called Extinction Escape or something. You're going back in time. Basically, I was sitting there at Disney World with my friends, and I kid you not, I was riding the ride. It stopped. All of the lights came on, and we're like, what do we do? And they said, ladies and gentlemen, there's been a problem. We need you to evacuate. They didn't mention that someone was going to come evacuate us, so we all kind of just lifted the bars and started wandering. But you get in the car, and you don't realize it's actually about 6 feet above the real ground. I found that out with my face. And now I work for theme parks.
I like that your injury list includes just like, attacked by spiders.
Twice.
He's been bitten by a brown recluse twice.
Yeah, I got bit by a brown recluse twice in the place where their region doesn't supposed to exist, but thanks to global warming that's keeping coming up more and more north. 5 years ago it was in Champaign, Illinois. They're probably up to Chicago now, so have fun with that.
No.
So the best was for injured. A couple years ago, Fur came to Motor City, and at Motor City, our hotel is only about 6 or 7 stories tall. So we go up to the roof to take photos of the fursuit parade, which ends outside. And I tweeted, "Hey, @Fur is going to join me on the roof of the hotel to take pictures." And like 8 minutes later, @FurInjured goes, "Oh shit."
I mean, we've had people at conventions fall from higher and live.
Oh.
Yeah. If you ever want to hear the worst noise in the world, I think a lot of you out here know this. I am an avid LARPer, at least I used to be. Thank you. I'm glad there are other LARPers out there. I used to play Nero for years, and during our playtime, we actually had a campsite that owned a 2-story barn. Now, bear in mind, a 2-story barn is mainly like 2.5 stories, and they're much bigger. We had a gentleman in full plate mail armor fall from the 2nd floor through a slot in the wall down to the concrete below. If you have ever heard a grocery store explode, that's what this sounded like. If the can section of Costco all of a sudden did a conga line, that is what this sounded like. If the moon came crashing into Pepsi Cola with nothing but empty cans, that's what this sounded like. Until the son of a bitch had a moment, because it was crash, bang, dead silence. And the son of a bitch from the bottom floor softly and methodically says, "I landed on my car keys." The armor totally took the brunt of it. And he had to show me the next day, regretfully, that he had a bruise the shape of an SUV Chevrolet square key solidly on his ass. Also, I mean, a New York 5, but a Chicago 6. He was cute.
Chicago 6.
I want to make like a Dark Souls joke. Just like, I want to see the "you died" screen, then just hear, "I landed on my..."
I landed on my key.
We did have a gentleman. Or, do I have any of my Nero guys out here? Do I have some? Oh my!
Yay!
Oh, guys. We had a gentleman. He's a good friend of ours named John. To describe John, John is 5 feet tall in every direction. He's rounder than me. John took a misstep on the side of a, not sheer cliff face, but what, about a 45-degree angle cliff face? Yeah, they're like, yeah. As he's rolling down the hill, all of us watching him, going into the air, getting airtime, we can hear him because he is a huge fan of cartoons. Spoon! Lands at the bottom, puts up his hands, goes, "You missed me." Sometimes Nero players are badasses.
Not that one.
That was so... Love you too. You guys need to talk about something.
Meanwhile, I broke my foot doing the moonwalk. No, I'm sorry, the Running Man. It's even worse. I was doing the Running Man on stage at Eurofarts, and I'm like, I must go harder than ever before. Because if you watch, like, European audiences in general, like, especially German ones, like, they'll sit and you watch the thing, and they're like, yes, we're at the concert, and they sit. An entire song goes by, and you're up there just like, yes, going as hard as you can.
That's
and
what's
they wait until the end.
Thank you.
What?
That's how they react. It's like you get to the end of the song and it's like, That was good. Yes.
That was good. They would clap politely, and they'll be like, woo. And okay, and we're back. So I'm going harder than I have ever gone before. I'm like thrashing my head around. I'm doing jump kicks and all this nonsense. And then the thing that breaks my foot is we're on the absolute last song of the set. And I just start doing the Running Man to be like kind of goofy. And then I just like take a misstep, step on like my own foot. And like, I break like one of those weird little bones in the thigh, the metatarsals or whatever, which I've broken several other times. Mainly fencing? I was fencing. Took a back step. Lost that point. And then I get to then explain, after being the most sarcastic D-bag in the planet, like, hey everyone, I broke my foot. And they're like, ha ha ha, this is funny joke. And I'm like, no, like, really? But anyway, I'll see you. And then they're like carting me around. All right. And then I got to find out, like, does American health, like, do I get free German health care if I'm an American who breaks their foot doing the Running Man while working illegally in Germany?
And the answer is?
I didn't find out. Like an American, I went home and didn't go to the doctor because I couldn't afford it. High five me. Obamacare open enrollment is now. Please get some health care if you need it. Oh, that's real jokes.
Hey, Des.
Yeah.
Can I hear about a time you were injured?
Which time?
And if you need time to think, I'm sure Fur has a few.
Do you want the list alphabetically or chronologically?
In song form, please.
Do an injured haiku.
Oh, man.
That's very good. All right, you made him think, so that means you gotta go while he thinks of it.
Give me a hint what time you're thinking of.
I'm not thinking of anything. I want to hear about a time you got injured because I'm gonna laugh at you. You're my friend. This is how it works.
Wednesday. I had everything packed up. I was in the car. I was ready to come here. I pulled into the parking lot of Meijer to grab some bread and some last minute stuff. The entire parking lot was fine except for a patch of ice that big, which I found, which caused my left knee to find the ground very quickly. All of my weight, and that's a lot of weight, right on the, ow. So like Wednesday and Thursday I was kind of hobbling around. You may have seen me even hobbling a bit today. It's not too bad today, but like I was like, is it broken? I can stand on it. No, good enough, I'm going to con.
Good enough, I'm going to con. All right, how many people here, just a show of hands, how many people here are similar story of like, oh man, I'm going to con, yeah. You psychopaths. That is far too many hands. It's like, I was only shot twice, but I'm going to Chicago where that's just a flesh wound. I'm from here, I can say it. Fur,
I got a haiku.
Fur has a haiku. If we can have silence. Fur.
Got hit by a minivan. But that was not it. Then a golf cart hit my face. So, I was working at a theme park. And as you know, theme parks are filled with tourists. And I was on my way home. And to go home, I had to cross a road that the tourists used to exit out of the theme park to get to my car. And then an Enterprise rent-a-car driven by a tourist who had never driven an American car before didn't realize that the brake was on the left side. So as I'm crossing the crosswalk with the lights that say stop because I have the crosswalkie symbol. The guy doesn't understand what white crosswalkie means because they don't have those in the rest of the world, I guess. So I got hit by a minivan and it hurt a lot. It's not the first time I've been hit by a car, but it was the first minivan. So, when you're at a theme park, you're not allowed to call 911 because 911 will just go to the main entrance. You have to call like the internal people and then they'll tell the police where to actually go. So here I am sitting battered and bruised. I didn't break anything, surprisingly, but I'm sitting on the curb next to the road, like where the sidewalk is. So, in addition to calling me an ambulance, they called the security people, and they're like our internal paramedic team. And the internal paramedic team comes in a golf cart. And they came on the sidewalk, and they didn't see that I was sitting on the sidewalk. And I will tell you this because I had to read the witness report that the paramedic who was driving the golf cart had to say. He said, and this is I'm not even fucking exaggerating with this. This is exactly what it said. I was driving to the scene over the sidewalk. I heard a bump. I did not back up. I swear to God, that was like my 3rd week on the job too. That was like, welcome, your health insurance hasn't kicked in yet. Now I'm sad.
So I worked at an amusement park and I almost hit somebody with a golf cart once.
That was you?
It was Hershey Park, it wasn't Universal.
Oh man.
Alright. No, we were an a cappella group and they gave us like a weird 6-person bike situation because they wanted to put like mount the speakers to something, so we had like wireless mics. We're like an a cappella group, they're like, you're not loud enough, so we're gonna like staple a ridiculous huge subwoofer and like 2, like these speakers were on this cart and we're just like riding a bike. And I have like this weird handbrake that stops after about a month. Once you pull it, and we're just like behind Jewish summer camp kids going like, we have fully deployed the brake if you don't move, what's gonna happen? We clipped a few kids' ankles, but that's how you build character. Once you knock one kid over, people move. Pro tip, drivers.
I wouldn't call this an injury so much as a series of stupid events. I helped work at a campsite for a very long time, and we had a golf cart that some of you may be very familiar with. That one. Well, the back of it was flat because we needed.
So.
Whose hand is this? Oh, it's me. It's always me.
Oh, man.
I got me again.
I don't think I have any injury story that compares to that in any way, shape, or form.
That's because you're a pharmacist. You're smarter than us.
Yeah. Yours is just the emotional.
I mean, I had a bone spontaneously disintegrate inside my body once.
Wait, no. I don't have anything that can match with you. My bones disintegrate.
It wasn't an injury, though.
That's the world's worst superpower. That's awesome.
You are a pharmacist. Who else have you told that's not an injury? Have you heard about disintegrating bone syndrome? And they're like, I would go out with you.
It actually it happened when I was 5. So from age 5 to 7, I was in a double leg cast.
Really?
The head of the femur, the round part here, in some people, usually around age 4 to 7, any older than 7, it tends not to happen, can spontaneously disintegrate and then regrow. And if you're not with your legs positioned properly, it will regrow at an angle and you'll have a limp the rest of your life. It's called Perthes disease.
This is a real thing?
I was, when I was a kid, I was like moaning in my sleep, and my parents were like, what is wrong with this kid? And the doc said, well, sometimes it's due to bone pain. So they x-rayed my entire body and found that this bone was half gone.
What is on the screen?
Oh, I have pandas and baby pictures on my phone for some reason.
Oh my God!
Yep, that's me.
What was the point of the crutches in that picture? Like, both your legs are like fastened together. Was it just to give you hope?
No, look at the bar in the middle. If he does try to walk, he's just going to trip the crutches.
This is like... All right.
I had to let me move the cupcake. I had to swing my legs like that in order to walk, and the crutches were to keep me from falling onto my face.
Are you sure?
Which mostly worked.
Are you sure your parents aren't just great practical jokers? Because every bit of this.
2 months I could see. You'd be like, let's just keep this up for a couple months. Oh, it regrew that quick. No, 2 years.
It says first day home, too. This is going to make...
All right, let's stop making fun of pandas. Pandas, talk about your mom.
Mom Des is adorable. My parents came over from Britain before I was born, and she was a teacher. Started off in elementary school, went up to high school, and It was really great. She got really, really upset her very first day because she walked in and, you know, they're like, oh, yep, we heard you were hired in by the board. What's your experience? She's like, oh, I've done this and this and this and this over in Britain. And the guy said, oh, cool, you're an old pro. And my mom went home in tears because in England at the time, old pro meant you were an old prostitute. So my dad had to go, that's not what that means here. Your boss didn't say, welcome to work, you old prostitute. But she had a tendency to not get certain American terms. Should I tell that story?
Absolutely, please.
Oh, so she decided she wanted to get some odds and ends for the class, you know, some pencils and rulers and stuff to have around in case they needed extras. And she wanted to get some erasers for the class.
Oh, boy.
And she decided, well, I'll go to the pharmacy and I'll pick this stuff up. But in Britain, they didn't use the term eraser at the time. They used the term rubber. It was a big piece of rubber you rubbed out the pencil mark, and it was a rubber. So she went into the pharmacy and she got all of her stuff, but she couldn't find the eraser, so she went up to the pharmacist and went, pardon me, sir, I'm trying to find some rubbers. Could you help me out? So he walked her over to the family planning section. So we have it, she's like, no, I don't think you understand. I'm looking for some with the cartoon characters on them. For the children. I can just imagine what was going through this pharmacist's face, like, what, like the Flintstone brand condom? I'm gonna yabba dabba do you. Don't use the Scooby-Doo ones, I hear those break. Row ya, row.
So, like, this is, I guess, vaguely associated, if you want to keep with, like, Commonwealth countries not understanding. This is me. I was in Australia for fur cons, because that's the only reason I go anywhere, because, you know. Same. Seriously, who here uses fur cons as a reason to take, like, vacations to places they wouldn't go otherwise? Like, of course, that's the best reason. So we're in Australia, and I'm in a restaurant in a mall, but it's like a nice restaurant, and it's okay. It's like a mom and pop shop because it's different. Like in the U.S. malls, everything must be like a chain or an Applebee's or like an Aunt Annie's Pretzels. But this is like a mom and pop shop, but in the middle of a mall. So we go. We're like, let's get breakfast, and I'm going down, and I see it says bacon and egg burger, and I'm like, that sounds great. Getting that. So the waitress comes, and we order the thing, and I'm like, hey, I'll have the bacon and egg burger. I want to get it like medium rare, and she's like, right. Does thing, because you know she's on autopilot, does thing. Then she comes back and she's like, so did you want the bacon, like the bacon medium rare? And I'm like, no, I don't really care about the bacon. I just want, you know, the burger medium rare. She's like, okay, and she looks like weirded out. It doesn't register at the time. I'm drinking coffee. And then we come back and I receive the sandwich and it has, it's, you know, a round piece of bread and it has an egg and it has bacon and a little bit of like lettuce on it, and that's the thing. And I'm like, so like burger, that word in Australia, like here you expect a beef patty and whatever it said. Like if I'm like, we're getting the chili cheeseburger, you would expect beef patty, cheese, chili, do the thing, right? There, burger just means that it's on round bread. So I have to come over and I'm like, hey, okay, so you don't think I'm an insane person? I assumed there was going to be beef on the sandwich. Like, oh, do you want? I'm like, no, it's cool. I just didn't want you to think I was ordering like rare bacon. Like, and it was fine. Heads up, if you order the chicken burger, it's not a ground up beef patty, it's just gonna be a chicken sandwich, but it's on round bread. Embrace? I don't know. Who's weird? Is it us for weird, or are they weird?
It's us for weird. Let's just go with that. Just always assume, it's like, do we do it and they do it that way? We're weird. That's just how it works.
So you took like a can of PBR, put it on round bread, it's a PBR burger, you did it. Cupcake burger.
You're a genius. Guys, we are going to open America's first true overseas burger joint. We're going to call it Mass Confusion. Those will be the items on the menu. Cupcake burger, PBR burger, burger. That one you get a beef patty with.
I just want to lure an Australian to a thing, give them a cheeseburger, but it's on just like regular white bread, and they won't know what to do. They'll call it a patty melt, and I'll throw up.
What?
Pandez, do you know you can see through your money?
I know, it's cool, right? Look, it's a transparent maple leaf. That's awesome.
I feel like I want to wrap Thanksgiving leftovers in this.
Oh, is this donated? You know, the farther away the Queen gets from England on the money, the angrier she looks. Canada, she's like mildly angry. Australia, she looks furious. England money, she almost has a smile even.
I'm sorry, she looks furious on Australian money? What is she saying in that money mind?
I want my colony back.
Wait, do you have Australian money? Bring it. Let's see the angrier Queen.
Oh yes, please. I want to see the angry Queen. You see angry
I swear she
Queen.
looks a little bit...
Oh, she is pissed.
She's also a young Queen. She looks like this.
Wait, is that...
Oh, they can see it.
Yeah, we got the camera.
Share with the class.
I don't think that's the Queen. It looks like a man in a wig.
Oh, there's a guy with a hat on the back.
They're showing it to the camera. Switch it to the camera feed.
Wrong camera. They'll figure it out. We'll get there.
Yeah. Wait, why do we have the multi-viewer view?
She looks like, what? Where am I?
Did they get it?
Yeah.
All right.
Australia.
Australia.
It's
She was
just for
probably
you,
just
Bert.
bitten by a snake. Thank you very much. Come back.
We want you to help us make a star white.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Guys, let's give it a round of applause for Angry Queen money. See, you're an angry queen and you gave us money. Thank you. If you're a furry, I assume you're an angry queen. Is that what? I am?
Decide, angry queens. What will you get angrier the farther you get away from?
Dick.
Poutine.
So I imagine Alkali doing sit-ups and he just smiles like at this. Like,
Let me poke some holes in your theory right there. Alkali doing sit-ups. The only reason I am sitting up is because Xander is dangling a Twinkie over me and I'm not done with sleeping yet.
it's the same effect. How? That Twinkie.
Alright guys, it is time, and we are going to go a little bit over. If anyone wants to go to another panel right now, it is 11 o'clock. Thank you for being here. But before we end, we made Dragor, you have that number?
What?
What was that number that we just made for this panel?
Let me pull out my little black book.
That's a bunch of guys' phone numbers in there.
Don't assume they're species.
They could be black anything. Black Panther, a crow, a black... Do coyotes come? No, they're all the same color. Stop!
In case you didn't hear it, Dragger just said, nah, everyone comes white.
Except when you're dehydrated and it's that weird yellow color.
Did any of you guys ever have those little tools back in like grade school? It was the eraser in a clicker pen, so you'd zzz, yeah. We used to call those Eskimo cum.
Oh my God! It's just like it's like a turkey thermometer. You pull it out, you throw it in the stack.
When you're in the heart of puberty, it happens about that fast.
Pepper, wasn't your nickname in high school the turkey thermometer?
Yeah, my little red wiener just... Never use those thermometers, they're inaccurate. Alton Brown taught me that. Get a real thermometer, people. Don't cook the stuffing in the turkey. Everyone knows that already. You get salmonella.
All right, Dragor. And our grand total for a comedy better when I've had a few is...
$659.65.
We need $10 more now.
No, we do not need...
I think that means between the, like in the last 2 hours, both your panels have made over $1,000, right? Yeah.
Yay! We earned a comma!
Are they doing a 10?
Now we're up to 69! Woo!
669. Wait, does anyone have 4 pennies? 4 pennies, we could be 669.69.
Oh, I only have
No one ever. Wait, what do I have in my pocket?
669.69.
It's the first square charity auction all over again.
You're welcome.
I owe you a story about a cupcake. No, it's not the burger cupcake yet. When we do cons, there's a good chance that if you see me at a con, the con has been kind enough, generous enough, stupid enough to invite me out there. And that means that I'm going to be out there doing panels, and every once in a while, I have the pleasure of doing them with friends like these. Friends like Boozy, friends like Uncle Kage. And with friends like those, you sure as fuck don't need enemies. Because I went solo to a con. We're not going to name this con. I was going there as a performer. I was looking forward to kind of a relaxing weekend. Met a friend there. We're going to give this friend the code name Cupcake. Because when Boozy and Kage showed up out of the blue, and they asked me who my friend was that they found in my room who answered the door without much clothing on, he introduced himself as Cupcake. Well, when you have friends like those, because you see, I had the fridge in my room. They did not, which means my room became the official drinking room. And in order to make that work, I had to give Uncle Kage a room key. I came back into my room. Now, Uncle Kage denies this and will continue to deny it till the day he dies, which I think means Boozy stole the key card from him, because I believe my friend. And on the bed, spelled out in gourmet cupcakes, was, "Let's fuck."
That's at least like 20 cupcakes though.
It was a lot of cupcakes. So we got together for drinking that night. And on the nightstand, I had, give or take, about 20 cupcakes, none of which had frosting on them. Because if Boozy wants to fuck with me, he doesn't get cupcakes with frosting on them. We get the frosting. And I'll leave it to your imagination what we used it for. Thank you guys so much. Guys, I want to introduce my panelists.
No, keep it going. No. A little bit more. Okay, down. Back up.
So what did it sound like outside of Alkali's panel this time? Murdered and cupcakes. Lord Pandez! The one, the only Pepper Coyote!
And some idiot.
Guys, from the bottom of my heart, the reason that we do these panels, the reason I get invited places, and quite frankly, the reason that I fell in love with this world. In the last 2 hours, this con has raised more than $1,000 for charity by just having some weirdos sit up here and basically talk about their genitalia. From the bottom of my heart, from MFF, from the staff, from the crew, from the volunteers, from the attendees. Guys, thank you for your generosity, thank you for your attendance, and thank you so much for your support. My name is Alkali. Enjoy the con. In here next is the original. Whose line is it anyway? Have a great night, everybody!